Welcome to the fourth set of practice questions. Pause your video, get a pencil, paper, calculator, and a timer. Allow yourself no more than a minute per question. You can get started whenever you're ready. Okay, let's go ahead and read this question together in figure 9. And here's figure 9. C is the center of a semicircle. Here's C, this is the center, which immediately tells us that this is the radius and this is the radius. And the area of the semicircle, so the entire area, the half area here, is 8 pi. They're asking for the area of the triangle ABC, which immediately tells us that we do need the height and we need the base. So let's start out with the given information here. Half of the area, which is pi r squared over 2, is 8 pi. So using that equation, we can calculate r, which is 4. So our radius is 4. We know that the area of a triangle is half base times height. So base of the triangle is basically the radius of the circle. And let's go ahead and figure out the height. This would be the height of the triangle. So we know that the sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse if we dropped a perpendicular line here. So sine theta is equal to the height of the triangle divided by the hypotenuse, which is the radius, which gives us height is equal to r sine theta. So plugging all the numbers in there, we get 8 sine theta. And the correct answer is D. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the second question. Pause your video now and try this on your own. So in this triangle ABC, A is 2x, B is 3x plus 2, and C is square root of 12. And the angle C is 60 degrees, and we're asked to find x. I want you to recall your law of cosine rule, which says c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine 60. So all we have to do is plug in all the information here. C squared is 12. A squared is 4x squared, b squared is 3x plus 2 squared, which expanded out will give you 9x squared plus 12x plus 4 minus 2a, which is 2 times 2x times b, 3x plus 2, and cosine 60 is basically a half. From your unit circle, you can deduce that the side across from 60 is root 3 over 2. The side adjacent to 60 is a half, so cosine 60 is adjacent over hypotenuse, so it's a half. And simplifying it all down, collecting your like terms, you get down to a quadratic equation, 7x squared plus 8x minus 8. Plugging that into your quadratic equation, you come to the conclusion that the positive answer for x is 0.64. The other answer is going to be negative, and you know you cannot have a negative side. So the correct answer is 0.64, and that should be B. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, pause your video and try this on your own. If log A of 5 is x and log A of 7 is y, then what is log A of the square root of 1.4? I want you to recall your logarithmic rules. So log of A times B is log A plus log B. Log of A divided by B is log A minus log B. And if we have log of x raised to the power an exponent, that exponent comes in the front. So let's just go ahead and see how 5 and 7 can make 1.4. And using your calculator, you realize that 7 divided by 5 is 1.4. So what we can do is we can say log of 7 over 5, which is also equal to log 7 minus log 5. This is all base A, by the way, so let's just put A here. And we are asked to find log base A of not 7 over 5, which is 1.4, but 7 over 5 square root of that, which is raised to the power half. So let's just go ahead and fix this. So it's log base A7 minus log base A5 raised to the power half. Bringing the half back down here in front. We know log base A7 is y. And log base A5 is x. And that's our final answer. Let's go look. The answer is a half y minus x. It's D. Very good. Moving on to the next question. Pause your video and try this on your own. Okay, so this question is asking if that graph here had to be moved by some factor, by some units, so that it will be symmetrical to the x-axis. So we need to find what the transformation is here, and they're asking for the original one. So if you factored the 3 out, you get x squared plus 4/3 x. And if you take 4/3, you divide by 2, and you square it, you'll get 4/9, and that's the number that goes here. Take the 5 on the other side of the equal sign, multiply this number by what you factored out, and add it to the other side. So this would be 4/3. Okay, so that stays as 3. This is x plus 2/3 squared is equal to negative 11/3. So k is 2/3, and the correct answer is D. Moving on to the next question. Pause your video and try this. The answer for this question is B, 5.13. You can go through this. So this was, the radius was given, the sector of a circle AOB with the central angle of 2 pi over 5, and the radius is 5, is bent to form a cone with the vertex 0. So it's shown here. So they're asking for the volume, and the formula for the volume, which is actually given in the front page of your test, is 1/3 pi r squared h. So it looks like we need to figure out the height of the cone, and for us to figure out the height of the cone, we need this side as well. We already know the hypotenuse, which is 5. Now recall that the arc length of a sector of a circle is the radius times the theta. So the arc length, which also happens to be the circumference, AB, is radius times the theta, which is given as 2 pi over 5. So the circumference is 2 pi. If the circumference is 2 pi, then the radius must be 1. So using 1 as the radius, 5 as the hypotenuse by Pythagoras' theorem, we can get the height as root 24. So now we know the height. We already know the radius, which is 1 squared. And plugging this in your calculator, you get 5.13. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question. Pause your video and try this. The answer for this question is C. Hopefully you got it. Here you could use law of sines. To remind you, law of sines is sine of A over the side across from that angle, which is equal to sine of B over this side across from that angle, length of the side across from that angle, which is equal to sine C over C. So we know, so we can say sine 110 over square root of 6, and we know side B, so we could figure out the angle B by setting that equal to sine B over the length of side B. So rearranging this, we get 2 sine 110 over root 6, which happens to be 0.7672. And to figure out the angle B, we simply take the inverse sine of all of that, and we get very close to 50 degrees. So sum of the interior angles add up to 180. So we can add this, take away from 180, we get 20 degrees, and the answer is 20 degrees. Here's the next question. I want you to pause the video and try this. Take no more than a minute. The function of f of x is 1 over square root of x plus 1 for all real numbers where x is greater than -1. We want to write an expression for the inverse of that. So recall that the rule for doing the inverse is rewriting this function as y is equal to 1 over square root of x plus 1 as it appears here. Then what you want to do is trade x and y. So that's what we did here. And then you go ahead and solve for y. I squared both sides to remove the radical or the square root symbol. I got x squared is equal to 1 over y plus 1. Solving for y, I get y is equal to 1 over x squared minus 1. And then simplifying, this is actually a fraction, so let's just keep it as 1 over 1, so it looks like a fraction. And simplifying the fraction, you get 1 minus x squared over x squared, and the correct answer is A. Moving on to the next question. Pause your video and try and solve this. Okay, the correct answer for this question was D. So 27 to the power 6 minus r, if we can change that to the same base, then the exponents would be equal to each other. So 27 can be thought of as 3 cubed raised to the power 6 minus r, and 9 can be thought of as 3 squared raised to this r minus 1. So using laws of exponents, you know you multiply the two exponents, so this becomes 3 raised to the power 3 times 6 minus r, which is equal to 3 raised to the power 2 r minus 1. Because the bases are equal, 3 times 6 is 18, minus 3r is equal to 2r minus 2. Solving for r, you get 4. Next question. Pause your video and try this. Take no more than a minute. Let's go ahead and look at this problem. If a geometric sequence begins with the terms 1/3, 1, what is the sum of the first 10 terms? Recall that the sum formula for the geometric series is the first term times 1 minus the common ratio to the power number of terms divided by 1 minus the common ratio. So you can see that if you multiplied 1/3 by 3, you'll get a 1. And we are told it's a geometric sequence, so common ratio r is equal to 3. And the first term, t1, is 1/3. So plugging r and the first term into the sum formula, we get 9, 8, 4, 1, and 1/3. And the correct answer is A. This is our last question. Pause your video and try this on your own. Here the correct answer is E. So recall that the sum of the roots is equal to negative b over a. So one of the roots is r and the other one is 2r. So r plus 2r is 3r. So 3r is equal to negative b, and that's b right there. So negative k, and a is 1 over 1. So k is equal to 3r. Now the product of the roots is 54. So r times 2r is equal to 54. So 2r squared is equal to 54. R squared is equal to 27. So r has to be square root of 27. So you can plug the r value here. K is equal to 3 root 27. And that gives you 15.6. It's actually plus or minus 15.6. Okay, that ends this practice session. I will see you again. Thanks for doing this. Goodbye.